Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to our live stream. Today we are looking at the Dorian mode in the orange textbook. So I'll bring up the screen now, and here it is. So this is page number 31 in your textbook. There are also scans of it in the resources section of the tab in our subject, in the resource tab, so that if you forgot your textbook, left it at school and haven't gone back to get it yet, you've still got access to this work. So today we are looking at the Dorian mode. Now, similar to our other scales, we're going to look at how the Dorian mode is constructed in relation to what a major scale would be. And so Dorian's mode is a major scale with the third and the seventh note lowered by a semitone or flattened. This is different to the harmonic minor, which is flat 3 and 6, so don't get confused between those two. The resulting sound is quite different depending on whether you flatten the 7 or the 6. So here's an example of a Dorian mode in C on a piano keyboard. As you can see, the third note E is flattened and the seventh note B is flattened. I'll play that to you right now. So quite different to what a harmonic minor would sound like, where it's the sixth flattened instead of the seventh. Quite a different sound to the harmonic minor compared to the Dorian, which is this. Sorry. And quite different again to the natural minor, which is flat 3, 6 and 7. So in fact, the Dorian mode, when you listen to it, often I like to think of it orally as being like a natural minor, but with the sixth note raised, because notice the 6 wasn't flattened. So see how that sixth note, that one, sounds like it's higher than it should be compared to the natural minor? That's how I orally identify the Dorian mode. So let's have a look at it on the stave. So there's C Dorian, just like it was on the piano. So C, D, E flat this time, F, G, A, B flat, C. Of course, if those flats weren't there, it'd be a C major scale. And finally, down here, we have D Dorian on this page. Notice it's D through to D with no sharps or flats. So in fact it uses the same notes as C major, but instead of commencing on C, it commences on D. So we in fact say that D Dorian is related to C major. Now, can we check how does the flat 3, flat 7 concept work? Well, what would D major have had? Just a reminder, D major. So F, C, G, D, go up to D, the name of the scale, take away 2, we're left with F and C. So D major would have been F sharp and C sharp. However, the F is natural and the C is natural, hence why we say the third and the seventh have been flattened or lowered, even though there's no accidental symbol next to them. So, I sort of already said that, didn't I, what I've said here? Not Deborah Smith, Melinda is the author of this book, sorry. If we look what's written here, the only difference between Dorian and Aeolian is that sixth note. In the Dorian, only the third and the seventh are lowered, as opposed to the third, sixth and seventh in the Aeolian. So it's that sixth note that's the giveaway. As I mentioned, the Dorian mode shares the same notes as C major, except that instead of starting on C, it starts on the second note of the C major scale, D. Hence why it's often referred to as the second mode of the major scale. Like the Aeolian mode, the Dorian mode also contains the notes of the minor seventh chord. So have a look up there and you'll see it. And so when improvising over a minor 7 chord, phrases based on the Dorian and the Aeolian mode should work well over a minor 7 chord. An example of a song where this is done well is Miles Davis's tune, So What. I've noticed a few questions pop up in the live chat. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. Yeah, that's... Yeah, cool. That's a great way of thinking about it too, Luke. Good observation there. Well done. Thank you. So, let's move on and do some questions for today. It is Friday afternoon, so I've not made this lesson too long or taxing, but it's a really good thing to work through and get to know, because after this we just need to revise the melodic minor scale, which we did do in Year 11, and then we know all our scales that we need for assessment for the year, which is just great. So I'm just going to move the page up on the iPad, and you'll see I've actually already popped in the flats, the clefs that we are going to work with today. I like to vary it up so that you get to experience both clefs and become familiar with the notation there. So, like always, we've got steps, and I can pop them on the page in pen, like so. So, for example, step 1. You put the circles on the page. Nothing changes. So, let's have a look at D Dorian. So we need to commence on D. So we should know where D is by now, but just in case you're still using your rhymes, the lines are good, birds don't fly away. So we will commence a scale. Oops, and I'm still getting used to using this pen, so forgive me if I make a few errors. Here are the notes. So again, it's an 8-note scale. Only the pentatonics and the blues scale have more or less than that. In fact, less even for the blues, of course. So there's D through to D. That's step 1. So step 2, work out the major scale first. So let's have a look. So we're starting on D. So what would D major be? Well, we use our order of sharps, starting from the right, go up to D, take away 2. And I just realised you can't see my mouse whilst I'm doing this, so let me just fix that up again. Here we go. So we start on, we move through from the right, from the left through to the right, up to D, take away 2, and you're left with F and C. So D Dorian would need, and I can do this now because I can easily erase it, but please don't write these on unless you've got an eraser handy. D major would be F sharp and C sharp. Yeah, I'm still getting used to using this stylus, so I can see on the screen it's a little messy. My apologies. I will get better at it. So, currently we've got a D major scale here because we know D major needs C sharp and F sharp and C sharp. However, we now need to flatten the 3rd and the 6th. So, 1, 2, 3. And you can't see what I'm doing with my pen here because it's not in the picture. Let me use the mouse. Try again. 1, 2, 3. So that note needs to be lowered. So how do we lower a sharp note? We take the sharp away. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So what are we doing for a Dorian mode? We're flattening 3 and 7. So there's the 7th note. Let's get rid of its flat. And now you are left with a D Dorian scale. Hopefully you would have been sitting there going, why are we doing all this working out? We just looked at a D Dorian scale on the previous page and we know it has no sharps or flats. But there it is anyway. Okay, I'm going to work through the next 3 with you as a class. At any time, if you've got any questions you want to ask while we're still in the live, please pop them up on the live channel, like in the chat, because I can see your questions as they appear. So let's do another question. So let's do E Dorian. So I didn't give you the 3rd step, by the way, did I? The 3rd step, which of course was, I didn't tell you, write it down here. 3rd step, which of course is lower 3 and 7 by 1 semitone. So there you go. So hopefully you can see that now. Cool. So let's have a go at this E Dorian. So first things first, we're in the treble clef. Step 1, put the circles on the page. Okay, so there's the circles on the page. Remember, we're always going line, space, don't skip. And don't forget, we stop on the tonic note. We don't go any further, so you should end up with 8 notes, E through to E. Okay, step 2, what is the major scale? Now, I've already left that in the screen here, I've realised. So we're working on E Dorian, so let's go from the sharp side, work our way through up to E, take away the last 2, and we have F, C, G, D sharp. So I'm going to pop that in there. Father Christmas gets. So I can actually write these sharps on today because I can easily erase them again. So what would the E major have needed? It would have needed F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, and D sharp. Cool. So I can take away those sharps again. And now we just do step 3, which was lower the 3rd and the 7th. So let's count 1, 2, 3. So the 3rd note needs to be lowered, which I'll do right now by taking away the sharp. So that was note 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And the 7th note needs to have its sharp removed as well. That leaves us with 2 sharps. Just to go back to what was said on the previous page, we call this the second mode because it's like you're starting or using a scale but beginning on its second note. So, if that E is the second note of another scale, what is it the second note of? It must be the second note of 1 note lower, D. So, does this use the same sharps as D major? F and C, yeah. So that's sort of how that can work. We say it's related to D major because it is just D major but starting on its second note and ending on the second note. Cool. Let's do 2 more and then I'll leave the rest for you to do as your work task for this lesson. And then of course, make sure you do also do your musictheory.net tasks every day. They are great practice to get your ears in tune and review all these skills we're learning and getting immediate feedback of course as well. And they'll stand you in great stead for when we do an oral and theory assessment, which is looking like we'll do actually right at the beginning of term 3. I'll tell you more about that later. So let's have a look at another scale. So G Dorian, step 1, major first. Step 1, write the major first. Dun, 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 dun. Step 2, work out the major scale first. I hope you're all enjoying my singing. Some of you will know exactly what I'm referring to here. So we're in G major. So let's remind ourselves we go from the left across to the right, stop at the name of the scale we're trying to work out, take away 2, F sharp. So if we were writing a G major scale, we need F sharp. Step 3, lower the 7th and the 3rd by 1 semitone. So, G major needed F sharp. Let's lower the 3rd and the 7th. So, and that was the dodgiest looking sharp I've ever written, but it will be getting erased in a moment anyway. So, 1, 2, 3. We need to lower the 3rd. There is no flat sign or sharp sign or any accidental sign there at the moment, so we do need to flatten it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I did say to you just then we need to erase that sharp because we need to lower the 7th by a semitone. So there it goes. And we have a G major scale with the 3rd and the 7th lowered by a semitone, resulting in a G Dorian scale. Just to double check, if G is the second note of a scale, the first note would have been F, and you'll see that this scale actually uses the key signature of F major, B flat. Cool. Okay, one more scale. Let's have a look at this one. So we're going to do B Dorian. So first step is put the circles on the page. So B is the second line. Oops. So there is the scale. Step 2, work out the major scale first. So again, we'll start from the from the left hand side, moving right because we know that B major is a sharp scale. A reminder, the flat scales all have a flat in their name except for F major. So we're working out B, so let's go from the left across to the right, go all the way to B, take away 2. We've got F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, D sharp, A sharp, all required. So F sharp, C sharp. So I'm going to pop those sharps on. So what do we need? F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, D sharp, and A sharp. And step 3, lower the 3rd and lower the 7th. So 1, 2, 3, it's sharp, so to lower it we take the sharp away. 4, 5, 6, 7. Take the sharp away. Now if we want to do our little check to see does this actually fit the key signature of the scale a note lower, that's a B. If that's the second note of another scale, the first note would be A. And we know that A major needs 3 sharps, F sharp, C sharp, G sharp. And there they are. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is how you write a Dorian mode. For your learning task today, your job is to keep on going with the rest of the page. I will give a specific lesson across to providing feedback on your answers you've given me so far. But I just wanted to get through all the scales learned first, and then we'll go back and revise them based on the responses you've given, so I can look through and then pick up any common errors and help you with them. So please try your best at working your way through page 32. With that said, we'll jump back into Zoom now, so if you want to ask any questions, receive any further support or help, please jump back into Zoom, and I'll see you there. If you'd rather just carry on with your work tasks, either this or then moving on to musictheory.net, feel free to go and do that first and jump back into the Zoom whenever you're ready to ask questions. I'll be online with Zoom until the end of this lesson, so 2:20 to provide that support with you. Anyway, signing off for now. See you back in Zoom if you've got any further questions.